playGomez, there is a method to Osorio's madness. 331, Herculez Gomez explains why Mexico fans booed El Tri after their win over Scotland and why the players are behind Juan Carlos Osorio. 331, 10:50 p.m. BSTMexico's 23-player World Cup squad didn't contain major surprises for those tracking Juan Carlos Osorio's progress in guiding El Tri to Russia 2018. There was no omission of the caliber of Leroy Sane, Karim Benzama or Mauro Icardi, all of whom will be absent from Russia 2018. But there were still plenty of talking points. Point 1. This is an experienced group but not an old one. Of all 32 World Cup squads, only Costa Rica has a higher average age, 29.1, per player than Mexico's 28.9 years, with Panama just behind, 28.8. And no team at Russia 2018 has more caps per player than Mexico, 61.6, with Panama in second place, 61.5. On top of that, El Tri has only 4 players, Carlos Salcedo, Edson Alvarez, Jesus Gallardo and Riving Lozano, under the age of 25, and every player in the squad has 12 or more caps. The numbers, however, only tell part of the story, and it wouldn't be fair to suggest this Mexico team is in any way defined by its average age. A more accurate description would be seasoned, with 15 of the 23 having been in the squad for Brazil 2014. Backup goalkeepers Jesus Corona, 37 years old, and Alfredo Talavera, 35, bump the average age up, as do 39-year-old Rafa Marquez, the second oldest player at the tournament, and 34-year-old Oribe Peralta. But none of those 4 players is expected to start games in Russia. The core of Mexico's starting team is in its prime, with Hector Herrera, 28, Javier Hernandez, 30, Andres Guardado, 31, Carlos Vela, 29, Hector Moreno, 30, Miguel Layún, 29, Raúl Jiménez, 27, and Guillermo Ochoa, 32, all at a perfect age for this World Cup. Add into the mix Lozano, 22, Salcedo, 24, and Jesus Tecatito Corona, 25, and the age-experience balance within this El Tri squad is much healthier than the initial numbers suggest. Point 2. Majority of players are from outside Liga MX. This is the first time a Mexico squad for the World Cup has been made up of players predominantly from clubs outside of Mexico. 15 of the 23 don't play in Liga MX, with 17 members of the squad having experience playing in Europe. According to FIFA, 74% of the total players at Russia 2018 are based in Europe, and El Tri isn't too far away from matching that number. This is the most cosmopolitan side Mexico has taken to a World Cup, and it's entirely possible that the starting 11 against Germany on June 17 could be made up exclusively of players registered for clubs outside Liga MX. Point 3. Marquez set to make his story. Marquez might not start or feature in every game, but he still has a crucial role to play for Osorio's Mexico this summer. Hector Vivas, Getty Images. Marquez's inclusion in the Mexico squad means he will become the 4th male player in history to be involved in 5 separate World Cups. He joins fellow Mexican Antonio Carvajal, Italy's Gigi Buffon, and Germany's Lothar Matthäus. But if Marquez sees minutes, he will become only the 3rd player to actually play in 5 World Cups, with Buffon only having played at 4. Marquez has played 16 World Cup games in his career and is already the only player in history to captain a side at 4 different editions of the tournament. Point 4. The dilemma of no natural holding midfielder. With Monterrey's Jesus Molina dropped from the preliminary squad, Mexico is left without any players that are considered natural holding midfielders. If Mexico predominantly plays a 4-3-3 formation as expected, Marquez is the nearest thing coach Juan Carlos Osorio has to a true defensive midfielder, but the veteran is unlikely to start games in Russia. Injury concern. Diego Reyes would be another option, although he was still training separately on Tuesday in Denmark and may not be ready for Mexico's World Cup opener on June 17 against Germany. That leaves 2 other options. The first is 20-year-old Alvarez, who admits he prefers to play as a center-back and is Mexico's least experienced player on 12 caps. The other is Hector Herrera, who is gifted technically on the ball but doesn't have the defensive capacities of the others. Also, Mexico would miss his presence further forward. Solving the issue is one of Osorio's biggest challenges as Russia 2018 draws ever closer. 5. A welcome abundance of versatility. Osorio's penchant for rotating players and switching up formations has infuriated many in Mexico, and this squad gives him plenty of options. The Colombian manager even admitted after Saturday's 1-0 victory over Scotland that one of the factors in deciding which players to cut from the 27-player preliminary squad was their secondary position. Alvarez can play three positions, right back, center back and defensive midfield, as can Reyes, Giovanni Dos Santos and Miguel Ayun. Even center forwards Hernandez and Jimenez have featured at times on the wings and could play wider if needed. But the main objective from having multifunctional players, aside from filling in for injury, is to give Osorio options, particularly when it comes to formations and switching between a back three and back four. Expect I'll try to be flexible at Russia 2018.